Shalom, Ka'ala Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Bakwadash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, where the house of David reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, who before losing their true heritage were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the plagues which are hitting these Edomites in Australia. But let's read this first. This is Deuteronomy 30:7. And Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Right now, for the last, I think, year now, Australia has been getting hit with a plague of rodents, okay? And it's just been released, this week that, when everything is considered and you look into the statistics and how long it's going to take them to battle this plague of rodents, how long it's going to take, their estimate is that it's going to last 2 years to get rid of it, right? Now, if you've seen any of these videos over there in Australia, it's freaking crazy, man. The whole ground is just moving full of rats and mice, right? Their grain silos are filled with this, right? And then when you consider what's going to come from that, right? Because a lot of these rodents are being, killed off and, with poisons and whatnot, and they're just dying by the thousands in the fields, right? Leaving dead bodies in the fields, which also ultimately are going to be consumed by other animals, which can affect and harm those animals. But in general, there's going to be too many of these rodents that are going to be dying off. And what is that going to create? Well, when you look at what happened in the plagues in Egypt, when the frogs came and the frogs died, you had all those maggots and flies which came out of those carcasses of the frogs, right? Because they had all that rotting flesh. So fairly soon, I'm sure we're going to start seeing other plagues which are going to come from this plague of the plague of these rats, right? But let's go and read this article a little bit, and then we'll get a little bit more into its biblical sense. It says, Australian mouse plague may last 2 years, rodents eye Sydney invasion. Australia's out-of-control mouse plague is worsening in the South Wales, a southern eastern Australian state, as experts warn the fast-spreading rodent could overwhelm the area for 2 years and urgent action is not taken, according to Daily Mail. Now, the crazy thing about rodents is that in one season, one rat can have up to 500 babies, right? So consider that, Akim, right? The Lord is doing these Australians dirty, man. But ultimately, when you consider who these Australians are, man, they're ultimately Edomites of the Bible, man. Though they may not have been directly connected with the South American slave trade, the North Atlantic slave trade. They may have been involved in the South American, slave trade and the harming of the Northern Kingdom that was down in South America. Or if they weren't even involved in that, then they could have been involved in just the general destruction of Jerusalem, as Edom was, right? Because remember, it was Edom, the nation that, when the Babylonians attacked, that they were there cheering on the Babylonians, saying, raise it, raise it. And not only that, they were assisting them, along with Moab, the so-called Chinese race, right? And then it also happened when the Assyrians came to take the northern kingdom down. The Edomites joined on to the adversaries and decided to help them out too, right? So these Edomites, no matter where they are in the world, right now the Lord is starting to turn these curses upon them because of what they did. And now, more importantly, because their empire is falling, right? And in falling, they're grasping for whatever they can. Now, that being said, the things that we're seeing where their economy is being destroyed, they're being persecuted because of their past so-called racial hatred or racial, supremacy that they had before, or even now where you have their farms being ravaged by these rats. These are all part of the Lord's greater plan to destroy the kingdom of Edom, right? Because ultimately, if these rats, let's say they don't go into they don't end up bringing like a plague of maggots and flies, right? They're going to ultimately decimate the crops, right? The crops in the grain storage in Australia, which is ultimately going to lead to a sort of famine down there, right? Let's continue. Xavier Martin, the New South Wales farmer, NSW Farmers Vice President, said farmers are abandoning their fields and barns as a biblical wave of mice devour the region's crops before it can be harvested. He said, now is the perfect time to stop the plague. Right? So notice that, man. They even refer to this as a biblical wave of mouse devour. Right? And let's see, here goes a video to show you, man, how it looks. The ground is just moving with these things, man. Here's a grain silo. Or I guess this is outside of a grain silo. And this is the grain silo right here. And underneath that tarp is where I think they have the grain actually stored at. Look at that, man. The ground is just moving. See, and these farmers were saying that they could kill them off, but there's just too many of them. There's too many of them to kill off.
Shocking videos have emerged from Australia showing thousands of mice swarming crops and highways in New South Wales. 3 hospital patients were also bitten by mice, and they then reported cases of a rare disease which can cause kidney failure and meningitis. The infestation is not just affecting residents' health, but their livelihoods. Farmers are seeking urgent action from the government as the mice plague decimates crops and destroys hay stocks. Shocking videos have emerged from Australia.
Look at that, man. Damn, look at that. Just freaking bags full of dead mice. This is more likely what they found in like a trap or something, or in water traps. Look at that. In filters. Look at that.
Drought, fire, pestilence, and now a plague of mice. Can rural New South Wales catch a break? It seems not. In the world of farming, no bumper crop year goes unpunished. See, when the long drought finally broke, suddenly food for mice was abundant and their populations exploded. That's because mice can have up to 50 babies a year, and it only takes 6 weeks for those babies to have their own babies. So you end up with something that looks like one of those scary exponential COVID graphs, but like, with mice. They're concentrated here and they're doing a lot of damage. They've destroyed millions worth of crops, they've eaten through thousands of dollars worth of supermarket stock. Rural residents catch hundreds a day. They're finding them in their cars, their chairs, their ceilings. It's to the point where their bodies are even clogging up machinery. This is someone's home fridge. Although locals are calling for help, the Guardian understands the state government may be hesitant because they could potentially throw millions into an eradication effort just for a cold snap to come the next day and kill them all anyway. Now there is hope, but it's kind of gruesome. Locals are praying that the heavy rains coming next week will flood the burrows, kill the babies, end the plague. 2021's the new 2020. Drought, fire, pestilence.
You see that? So the Lord is just doing Australia a heavy, man, right? And that's because Australia is a stronghold of the Edomite Empire, man. Right? That place is just filled with Edomites that went there from the Australian prison system, man. And they basically took over and they destroyed the Japhetic nation that had lived there, man. Right? The Aborigines that got what's the term? Basically got moved out. Right? But continuing, it says farmers are abandoning some paddocks and cannot hold off winter crop sowing a moment longer. The researchers warn that without a concerted baiting effort in the next few weeks, this could easily turn into a 2-year plague event. After more than 8 months of battling growing mouse numbers, farmers are still waiting for state government's assistance to hit the ground and offer some practical support for our farming community, Martin said. He said NSW government's mouse plague aid is impractical, dysfunctional, and weeks away, which is not helping farmers who need support right now to drive mouse numbers down and break this horrible, unrelenting cycle. NSW Farmers has consistently said the simplest, safest, and most timely way to the state government to assist farmers would be through providing rebates of up to $25,000 per farm businesses to cover 50% of the cost of zinc phosphorate bait, he added. Mouse tracking websites, Mouse Alert, shows the mice are migrating from the countryside into cities. There are concerns that the mice are already populating across the Sydney metro area. So check this out, man. This is where all these plagues are being found, man. You know? And here's the map that just shows the infestation, man, how bad it's getting, man. So Kahalaya Habashimishai, that he's visiting these plagues upon these Edomites, man, and he's destroying them, man. Right? And notice it's happening over here too, in the city sectors, man. Right? So continuing. Mice are significant problems in Australia, causing several economic, social, and environmental damages during plagues, the website states. Videos posted on Twitter show stomach-churning scenes of mice pouring out of grain storage facilities and equipment. And look at this. Check this out. All mice are there. This is inside the grain silo. This is normally out there loaded up with trucks. It's just full of rats. Most things that are moving are the dead mice. Lord is cold, man. Let's see. Look at that. They have water. This is coming out of a grain silo. Like you see, they're trying to drown these rats. But there's even more rats that than what can. Damn, that's crazy. This gets worse and worse. Check this out. There's another granary machine. It's pouring out dead mice. So along with all that grain is all this rat shit. So you got dead rats in there. See, this ultimately is going to lead to like those other plagues are going to follow, man. Right? Australia suffers from a mouse plague every decade or so. A combination of the bumper crop in NSW and heavy rains resulted in a perfect breeding conditions of mice in late 2020. Right? See, and that's Esau trying to explain this, man. No, man. What's happening is that the Lord is visiting you Edomites, man, and this is happening all over the world, right? And pretty soon they're gonna start running out of excuses and ways to explain away these plagues that are hitting them, man, right? Even this COVID-19, man, even though they're finding out that it was made in Wuhan, that Wuhan laboratory, man, it's still a result of the Lord bringing a plague upon the earth, even if it was done by the hand of his creation, the Edomites, man, because he himself put it in the ears and the mindsets of these Edomites and these Moabites to bring forth this biological weapon, okay, which is now plaguing the world. Right? But ultimately, man, all these plagues that are falling upon the world, it's not going to change the mind of these devils, man. And this is why they're coming up with all these excuses, why they're saying that, oh, this is happening because of this. You know, and never do these devils, you know, consider that it may be a biblical, even though they call the event a biblical proportional, whatever. They never say, well, maybe this is happening because the Lord of the Bible is upset, right? And they never consider it, right? They just use it as an idiom to say, right? But this is what the Lord says that's going to happen to those people, regardless if they realize what's happening to them is biblical and repent. This is Revelations 9 and 20. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, and that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone, and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of the murderers, nor of the sorceries, nor of their fornications, nor of their thefts. Right? And that's ultimately what's going to be. That's going to be the stance that the world is going to take, right? Because you see, there is going to be mass death that's coming to this world. We're seeing it happening right now with this whole C-19 pandemic, right? We're seeing it with all the plagues and the wars and all the skirmishes that are breaking out throughout the world, the random earthquakes in diverse places, the volcano eruptions, right? The Lord is judging the world right now, man. A lot of people don't realize it, right? But what's going to ultimately come is going to be the final judgment, man. And that's going to be this, right? Nuclear World War III, which the Bible refers to as Armageddon, right? This is going to be a plague that's going to come upon the earth, and nobody's going to be able to escape this, man. The only way you're going to be able to escape the nuclear annihilation that's going to fall upon earth is going to be saved, or to be in the deep underground bases. And chances are you're not one of the elites to do that, man, right? So and you're not going to, and chances are you're not going to be in a remote area, man. If you're going to be in one of these remote places on the earth that's going to escape this destruction, chances are you're not even watching this video. Right? Now, that being said, this is all biblical, right? This plague that's going to fall upon the earth, the nuclear destruction. This is Revelations 20 and 15. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Right? And that lake of fire is ultimately talking about the World War III nuclear missiles being launched and being hitting America, man. Because America, along with all its NATO allies, they're going to feel the wrath of the Lord, right? And that being his the weapons that he has set up through the human population, known as the nuclear missiles, right? And those people, man, who have laughed now, they're going to mourn later, right? Because you thought this was a joke. You thought this wasn't something that was going to affect you. You decided to trust it in the power of Egypt, right? And not seek the Lord for salvation, right? So the Lord himself, he's going to melt a lot of the people out there, who trusted in Egypt, right? Modern day Egypt being America. He's going to melt them along with the modern day Egypt, man. So I just wanted to touch upon this, man, show the plagues that are going on in Australia right now, Akim. So until next time, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahshai, Bashem, Kodash, double honors by teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.